Yeah, Zeus bringing nothing but heat, thunder in the chest. Waking up daily, putting in the work, no rest. This for the real one, scrolling through the mess. Straight talk, no cap. Let's address. Every morning I wake, phone in my hand, scrolling through the lies, Trump and the Klan. Republicans violent, same script on repeat. I call out the cap, expose it in the street. They yell TDS, but it's them on that coat. Trump devotion syndrome, they deep in the vault. Jan 6, they duck when I press on the facts. Boogaloo, oath keepers, proud boys getting stacks. Slush fund money for the supremacist crew. Obama rent free, he's still living in you. Peddling straight cap, misinformation daily. It's coming back around, watch the downfall, baby. I'm destroying these Trump supporters daily. Zeus dropping thunder, they folding like babies. MAGA's worst nightmare, that's me on the low. God of the sky, sending straight to the smoke. They play me on Fox, MSNBC, CNN. I'm the one waking the world up again. Battle for the soul, this country on the line. Lake of fire waiting, no cap, it's mine. Ice out here wildin', violating rights. Trump dropping bombs on Iran late nights. Stealing that oil from Venezuela, no shame. Putting on the soil, red carpet, what a game. Soldiers on their knees, disgrace on display. Epstein files locked, y'all still look the other way. He said terrific guy. We all heard the quote, Christian nationalists blind. That's the sickest joke. Blowing up schools, innocent girls in the dirt. These clowns bugging, putting evil to work. I'm doing this cause the country needs saving. The people, the world, this ain't just entertaining. Waking up every day feeling the weight, but I carry that thunder, I don't hesitate. They call it hate, I call it real talk. Somebody gotta say it, somebody gotta walk. Through the fire, through the lies, through the smoke, Zeus in the sky. This the path that I chose. I'm destroying these Trump supporters daily. Zeus dropping thunder, they folding like babies. MAGA's worst nightmare, that's me on the low. God of the sky, send it straight to the smoke. They play me on Fox, MSNBC, CNN. I'm the one waking the world up again. Battle for the soul, this country on the line. Lick the fire, waiting, no cap, it's mine. Straight to the lake, no cap, thunder don't miss.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Remember that.
Welcome to the show. Good to see all of you. Good morning, happy Tuesday. Once again, we're back in the Thunderdome. Good morning, Tara, July Love. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Did you like that, Disney Mom? Did you like that VIP? Stacy, Tara. Let's go.
I'm like the Terminator screaming.
I'll be back. Did you miss it? Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Tuesday. Let's go. I'm on top of my game, ahead of the class. You can tell that I made it. Look at my grass.
Cars in the garage with tanks full of gas. I play the game so well, I won't finish last. Sitting in my living room.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we're back. That was lit. You like that VIP?
The algorithm turned me to a maniac. I guess we going viral cause my Zodiac.
I got all these numbers on my spreadsheet. Let's go. Benjamin Franklin is my bestie.
And if they use my ex, that mean they left
It's
me.
a cold line. They don't get replies.
If they text me, I say it with my chest cause I'm
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
got a lot of confidence and I'm conceited.
Here the Trump supporters go right here. They always say the same story.
I'ma
Here
take
it goes. Here it
off
goes.
in the spaceship.
I'll tell
What'd
you
you
what,
do?
I haven't gone into Zeus's live in a couple
Yeah,
of
right.
days.
Yes.
Shit
That
was
drug test, that's
radical.
funny.
Very
It
radical.
was, it
Radical
was horrible.
snuggles.
I'm like, you've gone. Zeus has gone way off the rails.
Oh,
It's like deja vu.
you don't have any health insurance?
It's like deja
Guess what
vu.
that means? You might want to park
It's
your
like
behind.
deja vu.
Yeah, because you voted for this. Yeah,
It's like
fair
deja
enough.
vu.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we're back in the Thunderdome. I'm your host. I'm your pilot. You know exactly why we are gathered here this Tuesday morning. You know, it's abbreviated show Tuesday through Thursday this week, but we're going to make sure we get the truth out there one show at a time, all right? And who better to help make sure that happens than yours truly, myself, Zeus, or as some like to say, Triple H. Now, why do they call me Triple H? Well, it's quite simple. The first H is because I'm honest. I'm the most honest person on social media. There's nobody more honest than me. The second H is because I'm humble. There's nobody more humble than me. And the last and the most important H of them all, it is truly because I am and will always remain. I've been doing it for 6 years. I will always remain the most handsome. Verified. Thank you, Tara. And shout out to every single one of you who've been following me and rocking with me and hanging out with me, helping. And you've been watching me actually evolve. I used to be a lot nicer, but now I'm more radical. It's a left-leaning show. And we have to be this way because under no certain circumstances, boy, coffee must be kicking in, right? There's nothing in me that will ever allow me to capitulate and support the MAGA movement. The MAGA movement is the worst thing that has ever been invented by human beings, and I'm here to eradicate it. I eradicate the demon. And so let me go ahead and take care of the very important things. If you're a Trump supporter and you cannot handle the truth, just leave the show. We're at a point now where MAGA, you know what they're doing? They're calling it a silent protest. They're doing it all over social media, where they just flat out, they refuse to get up here and give us all what we've been looking for, which is a good laugh. I demand a good laugh. And the only way I can really get it is if you bring your ignorant selves, your radicalized Fox believing behinds, Diet Coke drinking, Cheez-It eating, and now we got to wonder what you're doing to the dogs, right? You know, the conservative white guy. Bring your behinds up here and face your judgment. And that's a huge W, Zeus. So if you can't handle us talking about your dear leader and you, just leave my show right now. Don't even say anything in the comments. I don't even want to acknowledge you anymore. All right? Because I promise you, I will make it very uncomfortable for you. All right? But you don't got to take my word for it. Listen to your leader.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned,
Good morning, Kabir.
if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want.
Thank you.
Don't come back. It's okay, too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, the doors to the Thunderdome, they've pretty much closed. And you know what? You know what I call myself? I'm your host. I'm your pilot. We might as well go ahead and get ready to take off.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard this live episode of The Zeus Show.
Yeah.
My name is Amazing, and on behalf of Three Crossing Zeus, also known as Triple H, I would like to thank each of you for tuning in today. Your presence and support make this experience possible, and we are truly grateful for your continued engagement. As we prepare for takeoff, we kindly ask that you please return to your seats, buckle up, and get ready for an engaging journey.
True.
This show occasionally gets off the rails, and securing your attention ensures you remain safe and fully immersed throughout the broadcast. To maximize your experience, we kindly remind you to tap the screen, like, comment, and share this live stream with your network. Your shares help expand our community and bring more voices into the conversation. We also encourage you to support the platform by utilizing the available gifts during the broadcast. These contributions directly enhance the production quality and sustainability of the show. If you require assistance with gifting features or have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to one of our moderators who are present and ready to assist you in enjoying the program. As a reminder, full recordings of this episode will be uploaded to our YouTube channel shortly after the live concludes. For complete information regarding all of my social media handles and platforms, please click the link in the bio.
True.
Thank you once again for choosing to be a part of the kingdom. We are honored that you have allowed Zeus, aka Triple H, to guide you to Olympus. Sit back, stay engaged, and enjoy the flight.
Isn't she so nice? That's what I said. Thank you.
We knocking on the door.
We only get better over here on TikTok. You know, and I create the sauce. I literally create a lot of the sauce that you all see on social media, but no one gives me enough credit for what I do. It's totally fine. As long as they're using it and using it for good, I can live with it. All right, so let's get through some of today's show. So what we have to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, is something happening right now. You know, yesterday, Donald Trump, he literally said things like, you know, I'm suing myself. Remember this? He said he's suing himself. And what we saw yesterday is a federal judge, Kathleen Williams. She spent 56 pages proving him right. And then she made him wait until the 43rd page, and we'll talk about it, where she actually used his words against him to make sure he couldn't get that settlement. Thank you. And then did we all see Lindsey Graham's sister yesterday? And what happened with her? I mean, all of a sudden, somebody who's never held an elected office in her life, right? Now they're a U.S. senator. So they're cramming politicians down the throats of Trump supporters. And these are the same people who love to bring up, oh, remember when they forced Vice President Kamala Harris on the Democrats? There's something. But how did this lady end up being able to be a senator? Wow, because Donald Trump picked her. What a crazy thing. And then we had another fatal ICE shooting in a week. And guess what? No body cameras rolling. Even though there had been money set aside, Susan Collins, she voted for money to be set aside so that there would be body cameras. All of a sudden, nobody knows what happened. And this is like, didn't this happen in Texas as well? No body cameras? The country's going down in degradation, ladies and gentlemen. And so, yeah, then Donald Trump had a crazy press conference where he keeps inflating the number of protesters that have lost their life in Iran. You know, first it was 32,000, then he moved it up to 42,000, and now it's 52,000. And then he goes off on the reporters because they're questioning him about the war that he claims ended in Iran. Yeah, remember he said he's won it at least 40 or 50 times. So, you know what we got to do, ladies and gentlemen? We got to get this show started. So let's start off with number one, the latest update regarding the situation in the state of Maine. Shout out to my friend, my beautiful friend, Ange. Goodness gracious, Maine is taking a slacking, so to speak. You know, when I see stories like this, all I can think to myself is, you know what? There's just no way, ladies and gentlemen, I could ever be a Trump supporter. Anybody still supporting Donald Trump? You know, what that tells me is you do not love yourself. You do not love your country. All you do is worship Donald J. Trump. So let's get an update on the situation in Maine.
Shooting at vehicles. And the bottom line is you have to either fear for your own.
As 26-year-old Joan Sebastian Guerrero, according to a neighbor, he was a young father who worked hard to provide for his family. Now, the events surrounding the shooting, they are unclear this morning. Very unclear. A doorbell camera captured part of the gunfire.
Oh, is that a car?
And this is what I was trying to tell the Trump supporters that I was talking to yesterday. You know who they were? Wildman Grinder 69. Stacy, I've asked you so many times, stay out of politics. You do great on social media just trying to, you know, TikTok shop it. I love that side of Stacy. But when you get on social media, Stacy, and you actually ignore this situation that's happening all over the country, it just shows what's really in your heart. A lot of these people, this is what happens when you can't vote for a black woman that's qualified to be president. Now, whether you're in the country legally or not, either you're going to be the direct victim or you're going to be an indirect victim. Imagine you send your daughters to go to school, your children to go to school, and they're on their way to school laughing, doing what children do, and then pow, pow, pow. What the heck was that? Oh, ICE. Now your children have to see dead bodies. I shouldn't say that, but this is what's happening. Now we're going to have a generation of children scarred because now you can't go to kindergarten, you can't go to elementary, junior high stuff and act like you can learn after you just watched the government unalive somebody like this. Oh, Zeus, please don't say it. No, I have to say what needs to be said. This is what Donald Trump is doing here in the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen. It's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
So after the shots were fired, presumably, video showed Guerrero's car going around in circles as officers tried to stop it. Another video showed officers pulling his body out of the car.
Wow.
The Department of Homeland Security released a statement saying the officer opened fire, quote, fearing for public safety.
See what I'm saying? Now he was fearing for public safety. You've been trained to handle situations like this. You're not afraid. What it is these are criminals with badges. And I've been saying it on my show. They do not accurately count crime statistics in the United States. They really never have, but especially under Donald Trump. They do not consider what these thugs are doing crime, but really it is. You don't get to just randomly take people's lives.
Angus King spoke to CNN.
There's a lot of law, John, on police officers shooting at vehicles. And the bottom line is you have to either fear for your own safety or the safety of others. And so far, we haven't seen evidence of that.
All right, let's get right to CNN's Maria Santana, who is in Biddeford, Maine this morning with the very latest. New details emerging, but still, Maria, so many questions.
Yeah, that's right, John. And what we do know is that another family and another community has been left reeling today after another deadly ICE shooting, one that comes only 2 weeks after a similar incident in Texas that claimed the life of a Mexican man. And what we know is that neighbors have identified the victim as 26-year-old Joan Sebastian Guerrero, a young husband and father from Colombia who, according to immigrants' rights groups here in Maine, was authorized to work in the United States. He had authorization to be in the country. Now, what we have heard from authorities, from Senator Angus King, is that Guerrero was not the target of the warrant that the ICE agents were trying to execute.
So he was not even the target of the warrant. This is a sad day in the country, another sad day. I'm really ashamed of what's happening, of what this country is doing to black and brown people and women especially. It's a gut punch, honestly. No body cameras. We get no names being released. 2 fatal unalivings within the last 7 days. You don't need anybody to tell you what happened. What we need, honestly, is an explanation. And it's incredible. Once again, as much as Donald Trump has just runs his mouth, nobody in Washington, it's crazy. No one in Washington can give us an answer. And this is why I say, you Trump supporters, if I were you, I really, listen up. There's a reason why Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, and several other conservative figures, I always bring them up, Charlie Kirk. It's the reason why things happen. And I shared it with you. You cannot continue to run around here and do evil things and not expect the universal laws to somehow be, you know how gravity works, you know how light works, you know how force works. These are things you just, if you want to go up against it, fine. But then do not come crying to us and trying to make it look like you're the victims. A lot of you conservative men, you need to get your heads out of your rear end and acknowledge you're terrible individuals. And unlike a lot of you, I'm one of those that actually, I can actually say, yeah, I was a terrible person. But you know what happens? You end up realizing you can't blame everybody else for you not being able to get things back on track. So you got to actually put your hands on the plow. You all brag about how hard you work. I was in a live yesterday with one demon. He knows who he is. Shows me his backyard. Looks like he was proud of his backyard. Came right out of the double wide situation he was in. He was proud of it. And I was proud of him too. So you're so proud to show us the fruits of your labor. And, I work so hard. But you keep failing to do the work on yourself. That's why they hate me. A lot of the conservative men, they hate me to a degree, but they understand they got to respect me because they know exactly what I'm saying is true. I'm not out here trying to say all white people are bad. Absolutely not. But I acknowledge right now that I have to say what's on everybody's mind in order for you demons to wake up. So that's a huge W, Zeus. I have to say it. Am I right, Kabir? They sit up here and act like they work so hard, but they don't do the work on themselves. It's disgusting. It's sick. Nobody wants to see, and I'm just going to say it, I don't care if he was in the country illegally. Even if he was a criminal, apprehend him the way you do anybody. I don't want to walk outside of my house and see you crashing a car going in circles, him laid out, and the kids running in the neighborhood screaming and stuff, and you're trying to convince me he was the threat? No, you clearly are the threat. You unqualified demons, W, Zeus. I shouldn't have to teach you. I shouldn't have to teach grown men how to stop being so scared and mentally unstable emotionally. I shouldn't have to teach you that if the job is too scary for you, then don't do it. It's simple. Get you an easier job. Go work at McDonald's, go work at Burger King. No disrespect to those companies, but go do something that isn't so scary, because obviously working for ICE is just not the right thing. It's just not the right thing for you. And listen, There's a better way to get people that you think are in the country illegally besides unaliving them in the streets of America. W. Rick. Now, let's get to Donald Trump's disastrous press conference yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. Bear with me as we go through as much of this as I can, all right? Like I said, all right, thank you, W. Kabira, thank you. You all saw this situation he did, yeah. Same thing. So what I understand was this was an executive order signing, all right, where basically he's cutting acres, all right, out of the state of Utah down by like 90%. So if you're into all of that stuff, you know, environmental stuff, he just shrank. What did he do? Bears ears from 1.36 million acres to about 121,000. Grand Staircase Escalante from 1.87 million acres to about 182,000. So he's cutting down some acreage, and this is all part of the Antiquities Act, all right? So they're reversing course on this. And so now we're going to jump into some of the Q&A, and the Q&A is just flat out insanity, all right? Because he keeps referring to a broken deal, and he brings it up like 3 different times. All right. He keeps saying the deal fell apart and then it was a deal 2 days ago. You just sit back here and you go, this is an embarrassing situation. This is the person running the country.
But he just felt tired, but he felt fine. And then this
talking about Lindsey Graham
a short time afterwards. So it was terrible. I just want to pay our respects.
Mr. President, you mentioned that
Here goes.
Iran has agreed to a deal and then walked away from it. Have you reached the conclusion that a negotiated settlement won't be able to happen?
No, I never reached that conclusion, but we're hitting him very heavy tonight, as you.
He's never reached a conclusion that a negotiated settlement wouldn't work, but we're hitting them very heavy. It sounds like you just reached a conclusion, champ. Or you don't know what you're doing, W. Zeus. I mean, it's a reason why people like DJ fear Big Zeus, because he knows this is insanity on display. This doesn't make any sense.
We're hitting him. We have tremendous amounts of ammunition. We have numbers that we haven't had in years.
Please.
And we're hitting them very hard, and it'll continue, and we'll see what happens. But we're knocking out all of their offensive capability. And we're controlling the straits. We're putting the blockade back.
You know, it's so funny. You know, the inflation numbers came out. Look, Zeus, the inflation is down to 3.5%. Well, it should have been 2%, number one. Stacey, you didn't mention anything like that. And all that was because, you know, he played this little game called let's pretend like we're not at war with Iran for a month just to get the gas prices to go down. But guess what? Now that deal is off, guess what's about to happen? That number's about to start soaring. So this is where we're at right now, ladies and gentlemen. MAGA has no explanation for why we're here in the United States dealing with sky-high inflation and an on and off again war that their dear leader claims he hasn't reached a conclusion about.
Blockade not for anybody but Iran. In other words,
and then he's doing a blockade. I forgot to add this. So he does a blockade, and then he's going to put a 20% surcharge on everything. How's that going to work?
Anybody doing business with Iran can't go through. Everyone else will be able to go through.
Of course.
So it's a blockade. It's a very strong blockade. The blockade was probably more effective even than hitting them, but I think the combination is the thing that really does.
Oh, really?
Do you think a deal is still possible? You think they'll return to the...
Yeah, I think a deal is possible. I do.
Iran is saying there's no deal possible. They said actually bring your behind over here and bring the jet too. So this little presentation that he's doing to make himself look very strong, I want you Trump supporters to understand, nobody in their right mind believes it except you. And we know that's because you're not in your right mind.
Mr. President, you noted the United States is bombing Iran again. I mean, you've been bombing Iran for months now. Is this just the new normal?
Yeah.
No, well, you know, we're in Vietnam for 19 years. We're here for 4 months.
Oh.
So I think we've done a lot. We've knocked out their Navy in a period of 1 month. We knocked out their Air Force. Their Air Force is non-existent.
Yeah,
we knocked out most of
to
their
him.
missiles, most of their drones. We knocked out their drone manufacturing.
And I did look into what Trump is saying. Turns out you can't verify any of this. All right. Because what they're saying is if he really did accomplish doing all of these things, then we wouldn't be over there right now doing this little blockade, charging a 20% fee and still dropping, boom booms on various places. So this is all fabricated. There's no way. If you could bring evidence that he's really accomplished these things, I would love to see it.
Capability about 92%. Their missile capability for manufacturing, we knocked out 89%. And they have a little capability, but they don't have any capability for us. This is almost a military skirmish. Now, with all of that being said, you have to get people that want to make something. We had a deal with them 2 days ago, and then they said, "Oh,
Here it goes.
Can't make that deal. We have to."
So he had a deal with them 2 days ago, and he said, "Oh, we can't make the see how it keeps moving. Now we had a deal. Was it yesterday? Now we had a deal 2 days ago. I mean, it's so obvious that he does not understand what's happening."
Negotiated further, and this is what they've done for 47 years. The difference is nobody negotiated like I do.
Nobody negotiated like he does. Yeah, because no one was going to allow Israel to bamboozle them into dragging the United States in like you simple-minded nincompoop. W, Zeus. I had to take that easy W.
And this should have been done by Bush and Obama and Biden and people before them.
Of course.
Frankly, it's 47 years they've been ripping off everybody and really hurting and killing.
How many years has Donald Trump been ripping off Trump supporters? That's something that should be looked into. I would argue 47 years too. All right. So who's the real enemy?
Of people. So they killed 52,000 protesters. But they killed many.
See how he said 52,000? In State of the Union, he said 32,000. Then he moved it up in another interview when he was talking about the Pope to 42. And today we're at 52. I'm pretty sure when this is all said and done, it'll be 102,000. Another W, Zeus. Another W. Easy W.
People with Soleimani, who I killed in the first term. Soleimani killed many people, many people. And not only
little
killed,
hawk.
When you see a young former soldier walking around with no legs, no arms, a face that's been horribly hurt.
You know what I don't want to deal with, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and move to the next part. I can't take too much of this demon right here talking, but you get what he said. The other thing is, let's talk about what do I want to cover? What he said. Oh yeah, when he goes off on the fake news right here, because this should be very alarming, especially if you love your First Amendment, right? Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. W, Miss Renee, W, Little Hawk. Thank you all for rizzing the live up. I appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying the content. Okay, now this is when he lashes out at the news.
They're all gone. They're gone. They had tremendous radar. It's all gone. They had tremendous anti-aircraft. It's all gone. Sadly, their leadership is all gone. They had their first-tier leaders are all dead. Their second-tier leaders are all dead. Their third-tier leaders, who we're dealing with, more or less, some of them are already gone.
So who is he fighting? If everybody's gone, their military, their Navy, their anti-aircraft, if all of that is gone, well, then who are we dealing with?
And then you read fake news like your network,
the fake news.
CNN, which is fake news. You read them, you have them say, well, actually, aren't they doing quite well? Let me just tell you, they have now inflation of over 300%. 4 months ago, they had inflation of 5%.
Oh.
Now they're at over 300, could be 350%. They made a deal, they broke it, probably 10 times. And they killed a lot of people. They killed our people. But the protesters, what they've done to the protesters, 52,000.
Here he goes again, making
Have
up
you
numbers.
ever seen any of the burial lots where they're burying the protesters? They killed 52,000 protesters.
Isn't that what his ICE agents are doing here in the United States? It's amazing. The very issues he claims other people in other countries are doing. When you just pan the camera at him and his administration, they're doing it times 10. Okay.
And on my watch, they can't do any of that.
Please.
So we have them in a position that they don't.
No, you don't have them, but you do have people like DJ in a position. These are Trump supporters. You have people like Wildman Grinder 69 in a position. You have people like Snuggie in a position, and you know what he does. I didn't mean to do it, but I got to do it. This is what Donald Trump does to his supporters once he puts them into that position.
You're going to be so proud of your country if I get in. You're going to be so proud of your president, and I don't care about that. But you are going to be so proud of your country.
Right.
Because we're going to turn it around, and we're going to start winning again.
Yeah.
We're going to win so much.
Putting that arch in their
We're going
spine.
to win at every level.
Yeah.
We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy.
Yeah.
We're going to win with military. We're going to win with health care and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please,
Yeah.
it's too much
And they just give it
winning.
to them.
We can't take it anymore.
You can't take
Mr.
it.
President,
No, keep letting
it's
them do
too
it.
much. And I'll say, no,
No.
it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more. We're going to win so much.
And then after that, you know what he does. Passes out and goes to sleep. W Zeus. It's so easy for me to get the W's off you Trump supporters. I really don't even need to talk to you anymore. Just stay silent. Hey, Maz, if you see a Trump supporter, just put him in, just mute him. I don't even want them to have a voice on my show. That's another W Zeus. They don't deserve it. You don't want to, you're not contributing anything to what's going on.
Military. There's not a thing they can do about it. All they have is fake news because they have the fake news would rather see us lose the war than win the war, which is really treasonous.
Yeah, he said the fake news would rather see them lose the war. Let me just go ahead and say this. Because I could probably get into trouble for saying it. Donald Trump, I want to see you. I want you to lose this war, W Zeus. Because maybe then. Somebody wrote a comment. Okay, come on up here. You think you're my worst nightmare? I invited them up, obviously. We're going to give them 2 seconds to come up here. All right. Oh, W's in the chat. Chris, bringing the hammer down this morning. Thank you. Hey, mods, go ahead and dispose of this demon, all right? That's a huge W, Zeus. They don't want no smoke this morning.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
When I start talking about their daddy, or whenever some of the panelists start talking about their daddy and how much he's failing. Yeah, Donald Trump, I do want you to lose this war because maybe that'll rein in this nonsense that you're dragging the nation in. All right. If you were winning it and you were prosecuting it correctly, I might change my mind. You know, initially when you took off, I said, you know what? He might be able to pull it off. But the facts are the facts. Billions of dollars, trillions of dollars being spent. We're losing our men and women in uniform. I don't really think it's a credible, you know, he says, I've only lost 13 servicemen. I don't think it's 13. I'm like, how weird is that? You reached the same number that Joe Biden reached? Because you couldn't do any worse, right? So I'm pretty sure you said to Pete, it can't be more than 13. After that, you better figure out a way to hide the numbers like you do everything else. And that's another huge W, Zeus. So yeah, we need to save the men and women in uniform from being, you know, throwing their lives away for something that is as ridiculous as this. Nobody supports this conflict. No one in their right mind supports this conflict. And anyone out here on social media saying that they do, go look up some of the videos they were making when Kamala Harris was running. And I promise you'll hear them repeat exactly what Donald Trump said. Oh, Kamala's going to get us in a war. We don't want any wars. We want to focus on America first. That's what they used to say. Now they're like, oh, yes, let's go over there and destroy Iran. W, Zeus. All right, moving on. I didn't realize. It's really tired. It's really difficult, ladies and gentlemen, honestly, to keep up with all of this crazy nonsense that Donald Trump is doing. But oh my goodness, W. Kabira. Hey, by the way, those gifs that were making noise, oh yeah, that scared me yesterday, and you all deserve, I'm going to get you back for that because really, I was listening to those gifs and I said, I don't listen to that kind of music and I didn't want y'all to think I had gone soft or anything. I said, who did that? And then I found out that was what TikTok did. No, I don't listen to that kind of music. What? Y'all think I'm doing all that stuff over here? Oh my God. All right. But let's get back to business, ladies and gentlemen. The next thing we need to cover, ladies and gentlemen, what is this? You know who this is, ladies and gentlemen. You know exactly who this is. Lindsey Graham's sister. I gotta show it to you. You see this yesterday? Now, in all fairness, the story that I've heard about her and her background, this is someone who I believe genuinely loves their brother, right? He looked out for her. So I'm not going to attack it at that level. But when it involves Donald Trump, then I get busy. I'm not going to allow you to, you can't sneak people in and make them look like they're soft sheep and then and then underneath it's a wolf. All right, but this is how the presentation is. So Donald Trump handpicked this woman, no experience, to be the senator. And instead of getting in position and actually saying, I'm going to do what it takes to represent the people of South Carolina, she pledged pretty much pledged her loyalty to Donald Trump.
Today, under the law, it's my duty and honor to name someone to serve in the place of this irresistible man, this irreplaceable man, this extraordinary man for the remainder of his term. Lindsey took care of his little sister in years long departed. It's my honor to ask his little sister, Darlene Graham, to finish his work for him now.
It is such an honor. Lindsey has always been there for me, and now I will be there for him. My brother was the most amazing person, outstanding leader, and just a genuinely good man. He was kind and considerate and loved by his family dearly. As I think everyone would agree, Lindsey worked harder than anyone. He worked nonstop to make our state, country, and world better. He loved his family and loved serving this state and our country. He dedicated his life to our country. It is such a privilege to get to finish some of his important work, and I promise to work hard over the next several months to support the president and carry forward the efforts of my brother.
I promise hard to support. She didn't say support the people of South Carolina. She promised hard to support Donald J. Trump. You can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be clear about what has happened here. A sitting president publicly handpicked a first-time office holder for a U.S. Senate seat within 48 hours of his death. And her very first public sentence is a pledge of loyalty to the same president? Wow. Talking about grieving. Does she look like she's really grieving? So it's really fast. It's like a convenient way of backfilling a position, right? What a disgrace. What a disgrace. Forcing this on the American people. So, you know, when they do stuff like this, ladies and gentlemen, then I say, you know what? I got to bring out the big dog. Or I got to bring out the big dog. And you say, well, Zeus, who's the big dog? Lawrence O'Donnell. Yeah. See, now we got to get to the big dog stuff. So Todd Blanche, his confirmation hearing, you know, they say it's supposed to be tomorrow. And we have several things unfolding right now. But one of the things that we definitely, honestly, we got to talk about it is how Judge Kathleen Williams crushed Donald Trump's dreams, and his supporters that attacked the Capitol on January 6th. He crushed their dreams. She crushed their dreams. All right, with a 56-page federal order that basically ruled Trump's own lawsuit against the IRS was never a real lawsuit at all. And so let's go ahead and get Lawrence O'Donnell to go ahead and deliver this crushing blow to Donald Trump and his supporters.
With Republican Senator Susan Collins' re-election campaign in trouble, specifically because of how she votes in Senate confirmations for federal judges, including Supreme Court justices. The judge's ruling in this case came in a court case titled President Donald J. Trump versus Internal Revenue Service. The question before the judge was simply, was it a real case? Or was it a fake lawsuit bought brought by Donald Trump against himself, since Donald Trump is in control of the Internal Revenue Service and the United States Treasury, the two defendants Donald Trump was suing. As you heard from legal commentators on this program, including Andrew Weissman, a lawsuit has to actually involve what a court calls adverse litigants, meaning the two parties actually have to be opposed to each other. Andrew has pointed that out repeatedly about this lawsuit. The judge determined today that this lawsuit did not actually involve two sides, but was really Donald Trump just suing himself.
Wow.
And in her 56-page
Go ahead, Lawrence.
of dismantling the Trump fake lawsuit piece by piece, Judge Williams patiently waited until page 43. Just exquisite work as a dramatist. Page 43. To use the smoking gun given to her by the stupidest litigant in history to ever sue himself.
I'm sort of suing myself. I don't know. How do you settle the lawsuit?
Oh.
I'll say, give me X dollars, right?
Right. And so, on page 43, the judge writes, certainly a court should not be a forum for a party that cynically views a lawsuit as a vehicle to achieve a predetermined outcome. I'm suing myself.
Cooked.
Quoting Donald Trump there from that appearance.
See, this is why you Trump supporters hate us, because we can take Donald Trump's words and show you exactly how crazy he is, all right? And you can't do it. It's unfortunate. Actually, it is fortunate that that's what happened in this case. She took his own words and slapped them all across his face with it. Who he arguing with, himself?
Rare cases where judges are forced to figure out whether the parties are really adverse to each other in a lawsuit, they pretty much never have the plaintiff in the lawsuits saying publicly on television, I'm suing myself. That is Donald Trump's unique contribution to the history of this kind of case. And yet another demonstration at the same time of the reason why careful litigants never say anything publicly about their cases.
Right.
And the stupider the litigant is, the more dangerous it is to say anything publicly about their cases.
Get him, Lawrence.
The judge found that the lawyers on both sides of the case abused judicial process in order to set up a structure in which Donald Trump could be granted a generous settlement by his own Justice Department in a case that was fake to begin with. It was a way for the Trump government to give Donald Trump $10 billion. Donald Trump sued the Internal Revenue Service and the Treasury for $10 billion because a contractor for the IRS released portions of Donald Trump's tax returns to the news media several years ago.
Do you see what's happening here? And what comes to mind is I was talking to a Trump voter yesterday, and you know what they'll say when they hear this? They'll try to either think about what Joe Biden did, which is because I'm ringing, because this kind of content, it rings the bell inside of the head of the Trump supporters. All right, when they hear information, truth like this, boom, and instantly they know they should walk towards the light, but they rush back to darkness, and they'll say, "Oh, Joe Biden," and they'll go, "Well, there are some things about Trump I don't like." Oh, really? Really? Hey, Stacey, you want to talk about you don't know there's fraud going on? It's amazing. Come on, listen, grab a chair.
Even though Donald Trump filed the lawsuit after the statute of limitations had passed, the Justice Department that he controls did not object in court to a lawsuit being filed after the statute of limitations had passed, something the Justice Department has done in all similar lawsuits. The judge called the lawsuit performative litigation. Judge Williams carefully grounded her findings in Supreme Court cases written by Donald Trump's allies on the Supreme Court, including recent Supreme Court cases, affirming the Republican legal position that every person working in the executive branch is under the direct control of the President of the United States and therefore acting for the President of the United States.
Wow, so he's playing the plaintiff and the defendant in the courtroom. Think about I mean, this guy, 1 minute you're ripping people off with crypto, you're manipulating the stock market, you're in the courtroom on both sides. Who's going to win in a courtroom case when you're on both sides? I mean, this right here is insane.
The judge quoted a Supreme Court opinion issued just last month saying Article 2 requires that the president control all executive power, especially the authority wielded by agency heads who are the most important of the president's subordinates and who must be the president's alter egos in their agencies.
Alter egos.
The judge said Donald Trump was suing his alter ego, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, and that the case was settled by his other alter ego in the case, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, who previously served as Donald Trump's criminal defense lawyer, which left him, Blanche, in a decision-making position reeking of conflict of interest in this case.
Could you imagine you're suing yourself in the courtroom, you're on both sides, and you know, when you're in court, you got to consult with your client and stuff like that. And like, you could just imagine how insane this has to look in front of a judge. Like, okay, they're both consulting with themselves about helping Donald Trump out. Like, what are those conversations like? I mean, what a mockery of the justice system.
The judge's opinion implicitly turned on the assumption of abject and absolute cowardice on the part of Scott Bessent and Todd Blanche. The judge wrote, Secretary Bessent in particular is subject to President Trump's actual and direct control in both of his representative roles. First, as Secretary of the Treasury Department, Bessent is a member of the President Trump's cabinet. In this role, Secretary Bessent is the president's alter ego.
There you go again. I mean, this is insane.
Of the Treasury Department. Second, President Trump's actual control over Secretary Bessent is grounded in statute. The Internal Revenue Code establishes that the Department of the Treasury, a commissioner of Internal Revenue, shall be appointed by the president. The Internal Revenue Code also provides that Bessent, in his role as acting IRS commissioner, may be removed at the will of the president.
Yeah, so he has leverage on Scott Bessent if he doesn't do what Donnie says do, which is go in the courtroom and you pull for me on that side. I'm going to have somebody on the other side pull for me. And we're just going to wonder who's going to win. All right. But if you don't do that, then I'm going to fire you, Scott. So guess what? This is what the judge is looking at.
The judge wrote essentially the same thing about Todd Blanche being Donald Trump's alter ego at the Justice Department and instantly removable by Donald Trump. But what the judge left out entirely is that we have had cabinet members in this country who do not live as cowards in the cabinet, as all Trump cabinet members do every single day.
Wow.
When Republican President Richard Nixon gave Republican Attorney General Elliot Richardson a technically legal order to fire the special prosecutor investigating President Nixon, Attorney General Richardson refused to carry out that order. Attorney General Richardson did not break in cowardice under an order issued by a criminal president. Instead, Elliot Richardson did something that Scott Bessent and Todd Blanche could never do. They could never, ever have the courage to do it. Elliot Richardson drew a moral line. Attorney General Richardson said no.
Does anyone think that there's anyone in the Trump administration that will draw a moral line with Donald Trump? Who thinks that there's someone in the Trump administration that will do that? Because I want to know where that Trump voter is at out there that really believes that, so I could straighten you right on out. W's in the chat. Thank you. It's amazing that the best defense a Trump supporter has is, oh, well, there are some things Donald Trump does that I don't like. You're okay with him playing both sides of this situation and guaranteeing victory? You don't see it as corruption. You don't see it as fraud. What do you look at it like? Oh, or you just make yourself go to bed at night saying, well, at least Joe Biden and the Democrats did it, so I guess it's not so bad. Is that how you do it?
To the President of the United States. And he resigned. And the next person in the Justice Department, Richard Nixon, tried to get to carry out that order, also refused and resigned. And because there was a time in our government then when honor came first.
Right. There was.
Among Republicans, honor came first. Elliot Richardson was a proud lifetime Republican. The third member of the Justice Department who Richard Nixon ordered to fire the special prosecutor did exactly what the president wanted, very obediently, and that decision came to follow Robert Bork for the rest of his life.
And that's what I want to make sure every single Trump supporter understands. What you're doing right now is going to follow you the rest of your natural lives. I'm not going to let up on you. No, because when I have these conversations with you, you don't want to come to grips with the reality and the harm that Donald Trump has unleashed on this country. You want to make it look like it's not so bad. No, this is terrible stuff.
Ronald Reagan nominated Robert Bork to the United States Supreme Court. 58 senators voted against Robert Bork, including 6 Republicans. Robert Bork discovered the hard way that in those days, there was no future in dishonor. Elliot Richardson set a standard that no one in the Trump regime would ever consider even trying to live up to.
That part.
And Judge Williams knows that. And so she correctly assumes that defendant Scott Bessent in this case is under complete control of Donald Trump every minute of the case and every minute of his life.
Wow.
The judge can see what everyone in America can see when the Trump cabinet is gathered on TV to publicly worship him. Every member of the Trump cabinet was chosen for their flawless cowardice.
Flawless cowardice. Any of you out in the audience that are flawless and cowardice like that? Because I need a good laugh. Go ahead and send Big Zeus a guest request. W Zeus. It doesn't take long. I'm asking a rhetorical question. Honestly, I don't want to hear from you. No, because you're going to try to ruin my show. No, this is a left-leaning program right here. We want truth. We do not want to deal with Brother Swerve, he likes to call them smooth brains. I said, smooth used to be a good thing. Michael Jackson had Smooth Criminal, you know what I'm saying? That moonwalk is smooth, but MAGA has now made having a smooth brain real bad. W, Zeus. I mean.
And the judge made the point that Justice Department lawyers who were supposed to be defending the Treasury and the Internal Revenue Service in the lawsuit were also under the complete control of Donald Trump in the case. So Donald Trump was really suing himself, which is illegal.
Illegal.
He tried to get $10 billion for himself by suing himself. Donald Trump's lawsuit asked Donald Trump's Treasury Secretary for $10 billion of taxpayer money to...
What can Donald Trump do with $10 billion? The man's on his way out. Really? Really? Why are they even entertaining this? They should say, hey, why don't we do something let's put this man in a retirement home or something. But y'all really think...
to Donald Trump. And there was no attempt to change the terms of that lawsuit while it was suffering for weeks under constant public attack for trying to give Donald Trump $10 billion. Even Republicans in Congress refused to defend Donald Trump's attempt to simply seize $10 billion for himself from the United States Treasury. But the lawsuit eventually became politically untenable. And that is when Todd Blanche took it upon himself for everyone involved in the case to simply end the lawsuit and create a $1.776 billion fund, not to pay Donald Trump and his family, but to pay the people who attacked the Capitol to try to help Donald Trump turn...
Look at those violent thugs. Someone said Honky Kong. I think I saw that. I said, that's a funny... Because I used to play Donkey Kong, right? I used to. And I sit there and I said, imagine if Barack Obama did this. Imagine, and this is why I say, if there's one criticism I could make of former President Obama, knowing what I know now, Obama, I really do wish you would have invited BLM straight to the White House right after Donald Trump won the election. We should have never let Donald Trump be the president. That's the time you should have said, Obama, I'm going for a third term, like Jordan was going for his 6 rings. I know I shouldn't say this, but no, Obama, if you would have simply did what Donald Trump was trying to do on January 6th, because you would have been a lot smarter and better at it, you would have saved this country. I really believe that. Right? Imagine if Obama would have had, he'd have made that call because he said, let me get the streets activated, right? I'm going to get the streets activated. And he made his calls to all his little contacts. And then you just see this swarm of black and brown and women all converging to the United States Capitol and saying, under no certain circumstances will we allow Donald J. Trump and the Confederate to take the United States government over. And we'll do whatever we need to do to stop it, all right? That would have been amazing. Because every time I see this picture of these thugs wearing the red hats, I really have, it triggers, it's PTSD.
The results of the 2020 presidential election, to pay them all for all the suffering that they endured as a result of being prosecuted for trying to beat police officers to death and threatening to kill the vice president of the United States.
Wow.
The so-called settlement was signed only by Todd Blanche.
Isn't that
no
interesting?
lawyer representing Donald Trump as the plaintiff in the case dared to even put his name on that so-called settlement document. On page 36, Judge Williams said, Acting Attorney General Blanche's apparent capacity to speak for both plaintiffs and defendants signed a settlement document on behalf of all parties to this action and then repudiate part of that agreement demonstrates that there was only one party whose interests were being represented throughout the case.
Donald Trump.
Todd Blanche eventually announced that the $1.776 billion fund would not happen. No one would get paid.
Wow.
The judge wrote, the court finds that this matter was brought for an improper purpose to gain the imprimatur of judicial legitimacy for a settlement that had no viable basis in law or fact. As was observed in another matter brought in this district, this case is part of Mr. Trump's pattern of misusing the courts to serve political purposes.
Misusing the courts to serve political purposes. Now, I understand that, those attorneys that were involved, some of them were referred to the bar. Yeah, I hope that in a lot of these cases, they get sanctioned and reprimanded and they lose their law license, right? Because defrauding the American people, honestly, you want to talk about treason? You know what he said, the fake news, it was treason. Rick. No. What Donald Trump is doing, in my opinion, is definitely seditionist, treasonous behavior and conduct. And it's obviously weaponizing the federal government against the American people. We just don't want any more of that. Zeus. Oh my God, I got to get up out of here. Oh my God. Oh, I do need to show this. And then honestly, I got to get up out of here. This goes back to what Donald Trump was saying. And this is a shout out to Abigail Phillip at CNN. She shows the hypocrisy of the Trump supporters, ladies and gentlemen. On 1 minute, one side, they're saying,
yeah, maxing is so maxing right now, bro. Carl's Jr. is saving you big with a $5.99 maxed out double stack spicy chicken sandwich. This is unreal value in the bromosphere. So max.
I don't know why they made me watch. That's crazy.
So just how much would that cost? Well, later on Truth Social, Trump said that all cargo would be charged 20%. Iran's foreign minister agreed, arguing whoever secures safe passage should be compensated. He mockingly said 20% is too much. But Iran will be fairer with their price. But if there are some key players who disagree with the idea of charging a fee for passage through the strait, like for starters, Trump's own team over the last few months.
This we need to get on record.
It's an international waterway. No country is allowed to charge tolls or fees on an international waterway. That's existing international law.
First of all, we believe international waterways should be free of tolls. And that's been our position. That's what you see, of course, in the 60 days of the MOU.
I know of no country on the planet that supports tolling or a fee for the use of the straits.
In trying to impose a tolling system. Iran's plan, a form of international extortion, is unacceptable.
There is zero support among the Gulf countries for any sort of toll or fees or anything that charges for the use of international waters. The president's made it clear that's not going to happen.
Yeah! Maxing is so maxing right now, bro. Carl's.
Isn't it incredible, ladies and gentlemen, that Donald Trump actually wants to... So on one side, he's saying there's going to be no toll, but then on the other side, he says that he's going to implement a toll. And so I just wanted to make sure you Trump supporters understand what I'm saying on this show this morning. Donald Trump obviously is an unstable, unserious person who's a danger and a threat to this country in so many ways. But the quicker you realize this, right, the quicker this country can move forward. Right now, it's in a way, it's like stagflation, right? Like the economy. There's no metric that you can look at and say Donald Trump's really outperforming the previous administration. And you can look at these small little numbers you like to find. And, Stacey comes up yesterday, Zeus, how many people are employed? I knew the number, over 160 million, but I asked her the counter question. And I don't even answer the question. I said, Stacey, how many people in this country are unemployed? And guess what we got? Crickets. Because they don't care about the negative stuff. They do not want to talk about how bad things are in this country, because deep down in their hearts, they truly know they made a terrible mistake when they decided to re-elect a convicted felon who essays women, who bragged about being Epstein's best friend. You did it because you couldn't bring yourself to vote for a qualified black woman. That's why this nation's going down in degradation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to get up out of here. No. Shay, I was in Wildman Grinder 69's live, because, they hide in here on their backup accounts, but they wanted to have a conversation with Big Zeus. And they say, Zeus, don't talk about racism. And Shay, you and I, we can talk about racism in this country, right? Until we get blue in the face. And I said, no. I'm going to talk about racism. And I don't like to frame it in terms of Democrat and Republican, because that's when they get off the hook for what they've done. I always frame it with them and I say, hey, let's just call it what it was. These were white people. In particular, I like to aim at the white men. Yeah, white men did that. We know what you do. So, and it's still happening today. Oh, Zeus, don't do that. No, I'm going to do that because when we start trying to be on, when we start talking about facts, right? When we talk facts, we wouldn't have to get into race conversations if you would agree on the facts. But a lot of you don't want to agree on the facts, right? For instance, if I say, who had a better economy, Joe Biden or Donald Trump? The answer is Joe Biden, right? They were crying about Joe Biden had open borders, but he had a better economy than Donald Trump has. So it sounds to me like you were upset that we had a good economy. And if I'm not mistaken, Donald Trump won all 8 swing states with an open border. Huh. So it seems like the open border in a way helped Donald Trump win. And then I think I remember him actually saying, don't close it. Huh. So when they don't want to agree on the facts like that, right? Because that right there proves that Joe Biden was doing a better job than Donald. That proves it. Conversation over. But when they want to argue and tongue wrestle you and stuff like that, that's when I hit them with the, let's just be honest, my friend. And this is what I did to Stacey, and she confessed it too. So I'll give her props. You couldn't bring yourself to vote for a black woman that was more qualified than you. Because in a way, you envy Vice President Kamala Harris, right? You couldn't be that bad on her worst day. You still couldn't even measure up to her. So and I said, because she asked me, where do I get my economic statistics? I could have just said the BLS, and a lot of you in the comments said that. Nope, because an evil and adulterous generation seeks after a sign, and you don't give them a sign, because that's what they were doing to Jesus, always trying to tempt Jesus. I'm not Jesus, but I understood the game he was playing with these scribes and Pharisees. And I said, one of the greatest wonders, greatest mysteries that I have is, for all of you Trump supporters, you had spreadsheets, you had .gov websites, right? And you went into the voting booth and voted for Donald Trump. What does that tell anybody that's paying attention? That you're not that smart. That's what it says. You're not that smart. Because you literally had the answers to the test. And you went in and confidently failed it. And you still haven't gone back to the drawing board and asked yourself, how did I fail that test? You failed it because of the evil in your hearts. I've always said it. I know I'm going over time, but MAGA stands for grifting. You love that. You love it. Misogyny. You love that. Racism. Oh, can't get enough of them golden crisp. You ever seen that commercial? Then I go a little further. You get into that seditionist stuff you did on January 6th. Lawless. Go a little further. You're in that Epstein stuff. Right? And you don't believe me? Here you go. You want me to hurt MAGA's feelings this morning?
Hey, do you think Obama could have done this, or even better? Do you think Biden could have done this? All I had to say was make America great again, and like magic, these idiots vote for me. You know, it's just that simple. And they love it. All I had to say was make America great again, and like magic, these idiots vote for me.
I'm with Jeffrey Epstein. And they sit here and go, do you have any proof? No, I'm not answering any questions. Just continue to suffer your demons.
The funny thing about these red hats is that once you take off the Make America Great stickers Trump put on them, his supporters can now see what we see.
Yeah, you want her cackling. That's why she's cackling. Because I don't look at that hat. It doesn't say Make America Great Again when I see it. It literally says, I lost to Donald Trump, MAGA. You all have lost to Donald Trump, and you don't even know it. You're literally the laughing stock of the world. We're sitting here saying, hey, you know, now there's a saying going around, racism is expensive. Yeah, it is. How about that? And as long as I continue to ride around and do what I do, and I know there's Trump supporters out here suffering, oh, I'm happy. I'm happy. All right. And because what can you say, ladies and gentlemen, honestly, when you see stuff, this is a hot mess.
And I love President Trump, and anything he says to do, I do.
Anything he says to do, you will do.
I will.
Literally anything.
Him and Jesus, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Those are my
enough.
two top guys.
If he told you to that an election was stolen, would you believe him?
Yes.
If he told you that his political enemies deserve to get arrested, would you believe him?
Yes.
He told you that all Democrats are scum, would you believe him?
Yes, Democrats.
Ooh.
Democrats.
Yeah.
That's his phrase. You're saying it as well.
Yeah, I watch everything he does. I watch it all day long.
You would literally do anything he told you.
Yes. I want to volunteer. I want to be a nurse for him.
You want to be a nurse for him?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like,
I mean, he needs a nurse.
change his bedpan?
Yes. No problem.
You'd have no problem changing Trump's bedpan.
No, he doesn't need it, but when he does, I'll be there. And you don't have to pay me. You know?
You do change his bedpan for free.
Yes.
Can't argue with that. Jeff is Zeus. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to get up out of here. I'll see you all tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed the show. We are out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now landed and arrived at our final destination. On behalf of 3 Crossing Zeus, also known as Triple H, and the entire crew,
thank you, July.
I would like to thank you for flying with us today.
Did you enjoy that?
We extend our sincere gratitude to all the viewers who tuned in and listened throughout the show. Your time, attention, and participation made this episode truly meaningful. We are deeply appreciative of your continued support. A special thank you goes to our valued subscribers, generous gifters, dedicated moderators, and esteemed panelists. Your contributions, guidance, and active involvement are essential to the success of the Kingdom and allow us to deliver the highest quality experience for everyone. As you prepare to depart, please remember that full recordings of today's episode will be uploaded to our YouTube channel shortly. For information on all my social media handles and future broadcasts, please visit the link in the bio. Thank you once again for choosing to be a part of the Kingdom.
Thank you.
We are honored that you allowed Zeus, also known as Triple H, to guide you to Olympus. Until our next journey, we wish you a safe and productive day ahead. You may now gather your belongings and exit the aircraft. We look forward to welcoming you back on board soon.
All right, we're out of here. Have a great rest of your morning, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry to end it so abruptly, but don't worry. Maybe tomorrow we'll do a panel conversation. We'll see how that goes. W. Kabira. Hey. What about Biden? This is all MAGA has, and I gave it to him. Now that I think about it. What about Biden? Gas prices sky, inflation wild, economy dying, can't feed your child. What about Biden? Afghanistan mess left them behind. Marissa! Let's go. What about Biden? Hey. What about Biden? Hey. What about Biden? Yeah. Up in the White House, call him Sleepy Joe. Cognitive decline, everybody knows. Hunter's laptop. Remember that? Remember Hunter's laptop? Let's go, Cindy. But Joe's classified docs in his garage, man. That gets me every time. Hey, hey, woo! It's a sad song, really. Millions crossing, drugs pouring. Hey, where we begin? What about Biden? Gas price sky, inflation wild, economy dying, can't feed your child. What about Biden? In Afghanistan, mess left on behind. 13 soldiers gone. Joe acting blind. Thank you, Sneaky Fingers. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I see a Zeus hater. Keep trying. I'll make an example out of you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. You know the deal. See you tomorrow. Keep up the good work.